And so, true love is that which is beyond sensual desires, the body, ego, mind, personal gain, or anything else. It is the love that is within us as an innate feeling of God. And then think, even if it's not a loved one, but just an ordinary person to whom I'm indifferent, I should also be able to radiate this state of love, compassion, and kindness. This is the love of the enlightened, the love of saints, the love of God, the love of Siddhas, the kind that Buddha had. Once when Buddha was staying in one place with the monks during the rainy season, a courtesan came to him, a very famous and wealthy woman in that area, and she thought, well, many men have fallen under my charms. I'll go and see what this so-called famous Buddha is all about. And when she came, Buddha said, yes, I love you too, but come back later, or I'll come to you later myself. And she was very satisfied. The disciples began whispering among themselves, indignant, how can this be? Some courtesan came, and right away Buddha said, I love you too, and I'll come later. What is this all about? They couldn't understand. They asked a question, and Buddha didn't answer anything. He just said, wait.
What is love, and how to love correctly?
Om Namaste. I think it's worth asking, why are you interested in this? Why are you asking this question? Is it not like somebody came up with this and it was absorbed by you unconsciously? The sky, a tree, a dog, a cloud, do they ask themselves such questions? And do such gods in the heavenly realms? Only we, as human beings, truly ask such questions precisely because we have a mind, called manas. That is why we are called manavas, those who are endowed with mind, with intellect. This question, I think, is an intellectual one. The essential thing is that genuine love, in its truest form, simply cannot be taught. You cannot reach love through the mind, and all these attempts, well, they will be useful at first. There are courses that teach us how to love. There are even meditation techniques that will tell you how to love correctly, but this is nothing more than preparation. In reality, love is indeed our true and inherent nature. And you will not truly be able to genuinely love until you fully discover your own true and authentic nature. Love is at the foundation of the existence of the universe and at the core of our nature, but not the kind of love people usually talk about. The love that people talk about, of course, is also a part of this great universal love. However, it is a very small, very insignificant part of love, and there is no need to exaggerate, glorify, or absolutize the small human part of love without understanding the greater, the universal love that lies at the foundation of life, at the foundation of the existence of the universe. In religion, this love is called God. It is believed to be an inseparable part of God. In Advaita Vedanta, this ultimate reality is called Brahman, and love is its inherent fundamental energy. In Shaivism, it is called Shiva, and love is referred to as his dynamic energy, Shakti. Therefore, what we call love is not a human phenomenon. It is not the relationship between two people, or the relationship between masses of people, between two lovers, within a family, between nations, peoples, or on the scale of humanity. It is something much greater. It is the fundamental energy that truly underlies all life itself. Of course, all these intricate levels are also profoundly included within the concept of universal love. But love is a divine force, a divine energy. It is the radiance of divine energy. In Sanskrit, it is called Vimarsha Shakti. It is the energy of divine awareness and reflection, the creative force that radiates outward. And preceding it is Prakasha, the power of luminous clarity, the power of divine light, and it is believed in Sanatana Dharma, in Advaita Vedanta, and in Shaivite sources that the power of Prakasha and Vimarsha, the divine light and divine love, they go together. So when you ask, what is divine light? What is divine energy? How can one learn to be in the divine light? How can one learn to channel divine energy? How can one become its conduit and transmitter? This is what we are talking about. This is not about preferences, not about moods, not about relationships, not about ethics or psychology. This is about the connection between our soul and God. You will not truly learn to love until you establish such a profound connection between your soul and God, until you fully reveal the authentic nature of your mind. Because the ego does not know how to love, even if you teach it some kind of psychological techniques. To love by technology, most likely such love will be artificial, fake and contrived, intellectual, imaginary, and there will be no real power behind it. It will not stand the test of time. Although it's better than nothing, better than hating, but it will be more like a plastic smile. That's why in general, it's useless to count on the mind or the ego being able to learn to love, but we can see the nature of ourselves. We can clearly see the inherent nature of the I. We can remain in this natural state of ourselves, and within it, we can discover boundless divinity, limitless radiance of light, and infinite divine love. And we can stay in this state without falling out of it. Then the ability to love will come naturally. It is a skill just like breathing, eating, or sleeping. You don't need to learn it once you've understood the nature of your mind. At the core of our mind's nature lies an infinite space of light and an infinite space of the power of love. The infinite space of light is the radiance of the Absolute, which is motionless, calm, detached from everything, dispassionate and unmanifested. Within us, deep in our heart, there is the Absolute, there is God, and there is His detached radiance. The boundless space of love is the other side of the Absolute, which loves to create, to pulse, to generate, to manifest energy. And this part is love. It is the active side of the infinite Absolute, of God, in our heart. To learn to love means to be sensitive, to be attentive to both sides of God in our heart, to be sincere, not to betray this, not to fall out of it, not to get distracted, not to trade it for some petty values or minor passions. Never forget these two sides of God in your heart. And then simply surrender to them, give yourself over, be a conduit, allow the infinite light of God to remain detached in your heart, and allow the infinite love of God to radiate out to everything and everyone. To truly be a conduit is not merely about learning to love. Rather, it is about learning to abide deeply within your true, authentic nature and to consciously avoid falling out of it. Someone might say, "But what should I do if I haven't discovered this infinite light of God within myself, this boundless love, the energy of God? How can I avoid falling out of it if I haven't even entered it yet? Does this mean I'm forbidden to love, that I don't know how, can't love, or don't feel it?" This is a difficult question. But we can certainly try to explore the nature of our very own mind. We can try to search, keep on searching, make some mistakes, perhaps stray, potentially get lost, and then ultimately return to this profound search once again. And this is called Atma Vichara. And even when we find this space of God's light within ourselves, it won't be easy to master its energy, to feel how this space begins to radiate, to express love outward. We will have to learn this all over again. To change ourselves, to rebuild. But sooner or later, it will inevitably and certainly happen. There are traditional methods of training for yogis, Buddhist monks, and Hindu monks. They are described in the classical text, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, where Patanjali recommends focusing on the four boundless states, practicing concentration, meditation, and entering samadhi through them. And we are learning this. This can be called that we are learning to love. Until we discover this light of God and this love of God within ourselves, we have to do it somewhat artificially, learning it first with the mind. There's nothing we can do about it. This is also necessary. And I always recommend the meditation on the four immeasurable states, the four concentrations recommended in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras to my disciples. I teach my disciples how to perform it. It's not difficult to master the meditation technique, the visualization, the attunement. And you can do it right now. It's much harder to awaken genuine, true divine love within yourself. That's why in the beginning we practice as if we already know how to love, as if we are loving right now. We activate these subtle mechanisms. Sitting with your back straight, imagine in your heart an ocean, an abyss of transparent bluish-blue emptiness, and visualize a pure white lotus spontaneously arising within this ocean. And on it, like a throne, like a foundation, the syllable Om also spontaneously and suddenly arises. Pure, brilliantly radiant white in color, finely outlined, with smooth edges and flowing lines. And within this Om lies the entire essence of the universe, all the power of God. Just think about this. Create such a visualization, and for a while, simply focus on this in your heart. Imagine that this syllable Om, this lotus throne, is the pedestal of your soul, the innermost part, the Guhya Garbha, within your heart, within your energy channels. And for a while, simply relax into this present moment. In this visualization, truly feel the joy of what you are imagining, such a truly sublime mandala in your heart. And then gradually begin to imagine how, within this syllable Om and within this lotus throne, the power of love accumulates as a potential. And this power has four aspects. One aspect is the boundless capacity to love. For example, if you have loved your mother or your beloved one or anything at all, that is what this potential is like. The next one is the boundless power to feel compassion. If you have ever felt compassion for someone, even once in your life, towards a kitten or a person who fell, you understand what this means. There's no need to explain it here. We have the boundless potential for joy, bliss, and happiness. If you have ever felt joy about something, so you know what I mean. And next, the potential for detachment, vairagya. If you have ever felt a sense of detachment from everything, remember that feeling. Now you need to combine these four states into one and imagine the finest threads of light radiating from the center of your chest, to the right, to the left, upward, downward, to the sides, in all directions. And so these four potentials, love, compassion, joy, and equanimity, detachment, begin to fill these rays of light with their mood, their strength, their energy, and radiate in all directions. And imagine that you are studying this and you actually feel it. Even if you don't feel it, try to imagine it. Tell yourself, as if I am feeling it. The mind is such that however you tune it, that's what you will feel, so let it be artificial. It's absolutely nothing terrible with that. And just imagine the profound feeling you get when you see someone you love. That's the kind of state that arises. And then think, even if it's not a loved one, but just an ordinary person to whom I'm indifferent, I should also be able to radiate this state of love, compassion, and kindness, as if with a bit of willpower. And then imagine that even when I see someone I find repulsive, someone I actually dislike, I need to overcome my aversion to this person, my dislike, and then say, since I have decided to cultivate true divine love within myself, I must do this. There is no other way. This is the teaching of all the saints. If I am limited in this love and truly want to develop infinite divine love, I need to learn how to do this. And direct those rays of light toward this person as well, and infuse them with your love, your compassion, your wish for their happiness, and your detachment, your equanimity. This is how one can practice the art of loving, but this is just a training. You have to practice it every day, and many sannyasis practice this their entire lives. It's not easy. To overcome your mind, to overcome your indifference, your callousness, to overcome your criticalness, your lack of love, your aversion, all of this must be overcome again and again. Otherwise, you will never learn this divine universal love. This must be done through willpower, through meditation, concentration, and visualization. It is absolutely necessary to do this. And sooner or later, you will feel that you have learned how to do it. And here you have learned to overcome, that your meditation technique, your will, your intention to love properly, as the meditation technique shows, is stronger than your aversion, your rejection, your indifference, heartlessness, coldness, lack of love, that you have truly trained your mind a little, that you have really taught it to act in the right way, even if the mind resists and does not feel it. But there will still be an element of artificiality in this. It will still be a struggle, and it will be your victory. But true divine love is different. It is even higher. The next step is that you must achieve sincerity, naturalness, and effortlessness here, when it is not carried out by will, intention, or visualization. And when this is the natural state of your soul, when there is nothing left for you to learn, when you no longer need to learn, and love radiates from you in all directions on its own. This is the love of the enlightened, the love of saints, the love of God, the love of Siddhas, the kind that Buddha had. Once when Buddha was staying in one place with the monks during the rainy season, a courtesan came to him, a very famous and wealthy woman in that area. And she thought, well, many men have fallen under my charms and been seduced by them. What's just one more monk? I'll go and see what this so-called famous Buddha is all about. And when she came, she tried to embrace the Buddha and said, I love you. I really, truly like you very, very much. Buddha said, yes, I love you too, but come back later, or I'll come to you later myself. And she was very satisfied. Buddha didn't reject her. He said he would come later. But Buddha was a monk, a sannyasi, and there were other monks around him. The disciples began whispering among themselves, indignant, how can this be? Some courtesan came, and right away Buddha said, I love you too, and I'll come later. What is this all about? They couldn't understand. They asked a question, and Buddha didn't answer anything. He just said, wait. They said, what is this? Was it some kind of game of yours? Or what was it? Or is it that we can't believe that you, like all those worldly businessmen, politicians, kings who used to visit her, that you too are subject to carnal passions. And for whom? For some courtesan? Buddha simply said, wait. 6 months passed. Buddha moved to another area with his disciples. Then, in that area, a disaster struck, a mass epidemic. And that woman fell ill as well. It was an epidemic of leprosy, some terrible disease. Everyone around was dying, falling ill, and at that time Buddha came to that area. This woman had been abandoned, was in a terrible state, sick and completely unattractive. She was lying there, also dying, wrapped in some kind of bandages. And then Buddha came to her and he said, do you remember I told you that I love you and that I would come to you later? And now I think that you need my love more than ever. Back then, you didn't really need my love. At that time, for you, it was nothing more than curiosity. And this woman said, how did you come to me when I was in such a terrible state, when everyone had turned away from me, and all those who loved me? It wasn't real love. Only you are capable of true love, and now I realize that. And Buddha told his disciples to take care of her, to heal her. After some time, she recovered, and she said that she understood now where true love is and where it is false. And she became a nun, joined Buddha's community. That is, she became a sannyasi. And so, true love is that which is beyond sensual desires, the body, ego, mind, personal gain, or anything else. It is the love that is within us as an innate feeling of God. This is not human. This is divine energy and divine power. And a sadhu is someone who learns to discover, to seek this love within himself, to trust it and to live, immersing himself in it and being its guide. And my blessings for you to seek this love and learn to live in it. Om Namaste.